Wars fans!
Wrong channel, dear. Welcome back to Thoughts and Feelings. This is Charity and this is Rob.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we are going to discuss the Enneagram and our marriage. How the Enneagram has helped Rob and I with our communication and understanding each other better just the past, I would say, 6 months that we've been digging in with it.
That's right. So if you don't know what the Enneagram is, it's basically a cult. No, it's not. But I think that's one of the problems. People see it and people get really fanatic about Enneagram, and then you see this like star figure and you're like, whoa, what are those weirdos doing? But really, my wife told me to call it a tool, but it's basically a personality test, like Myers-Briggs or one of these others. The difference is that it's much more about what motivates you, specifically what you're afraid of and what you kind of want and seek. So, for example, it doesn't necessarily classify you as introvert versus extrovert,
right?
But some Enneagram types will tend to be more introverted or more extroverted based on what's driving them.
Right.
It also is the only thing I found personality test-wise that has been legitimately useful. All of the others, like Myers-Briggs, I found really interesting, and I know some people have found them helpful, but I haven't found them helpful. Just like, oh, that's cool. I'm an ENTJ.
Right.
And then I move on.
I think with the Myers-Briggs, it's a surface level basic thing, and then with the Enneagram, it really digs deeper into what you're talking about, like with your core fears, your core desires.
Yeah.
And it helps you understand why you feel the way you feel, or why you're acting the way you might be acting.
And surface level, I don't think you mean that in a demeaning sense.
No.
But it's more like
a basic.
It's more like symptoms versus cause.
Right.
And I think that's what Enneagram does a lot of, and that's why it classifies so differently, is because two people with the same Enneagram type can look pretty different sometimes, because say they're both type 1s, they're both wanting really bad to be good and do what's right.
Right.
And for one, it tends to manifest as gosh, I don't think I'm doing a good job. I got to work really hard and try to be good and try to be good. And for another type, it might manifest as, all right, I've learned how to be good, how to do what's right. Now I'm going to teach you. And they can look different, but what's driving them is the same thing. And that's what Enneagram does. It classifies people by what's driving them, by what's motivating them.
Right. And so talk about in a different way. For instance, you're talking about Enneagram 1, type 1s, and how they see things. So say Enneagram type 1 is, they see things through like blue lens. Even though all type 1s see through a blue lens, different ones might have a different color blue. So they might see more like a lighter blue or a darker blue, but they still have that basic blue. Same thing with a 9, my type. We might see things through a purple lens. Well, maybe another 9 might have a little bit more of a darker purple view, or another 1 might have a lighter view. It depends on a lot of a deeper knowledge of things with subtypes and tri-types and wings, and there's so many things that you can dig.
There are 9 basic groups, but there are more facets to each.
Right.
But yeah, so we're not actually just going to be explaining the Enneagram. I mean, either you know what it is or you don't, or whatever. Right. We're going to be talking about how it's been useful in our marriage, what our types are, and how that plays out. Yeah. And I don't know, maybe you're similar and you go, oh wow, that's creepy. That sounds exactly like my spouse and I. Or maybe you go, wow, they were weird. They really fight about that? That's dumb.
Yeah. And I will post in the links below some people who have helped us grow in our knowledge of the Enneagram with marriage and just understanding each other. So I'll post those links below. If you're curious, you can dig into it a little bit more for yourself. So let's start at the beginning.
What's the beginning?
He was 19. I was 23.
At that point, I'd already done 19 years of life. I don't know if that counts as the beginning.
The beginning of us.
Oh,
forever.
Right.
Us. We had just gotten married. Rob was going to start college. I was halfway through college.
Yeah, we were weirdos. We were 4 years apart, And
Still 4 years apart. That didn't change.
I was, how old was I when we got, I was 19 when we got married. I was
about to turn 20.
Not yet 20. Charity was very fond of saying on our honeymoon, we went to a restaurant.
Yep.
Olive Garden, some chain, and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my husband can't drink."
Yeah,
they came to offer the wine.
Yeah, you know how they always offer the wine. Would you guys like? When I'm like, I'm sorry, my husband's not old enough to drink.
Yes, she loves doing that.
It embarrassed him so much because it was funny. It was hilarious for me.
So how does this get us to Enneagram types?
So it's just the beginning of our marriage. You look through, just some of the things that we fought about or some of the way we acted. It was rough. We had our rough moments. I believe like any couple has. But now as we're starting to get into the Enneagram and understanding,
we still have the same fights, but we at least know why. No. That's almost true.
Part of that is actually true. Yeah.
It's like a little more empathy, a little more understanding.
Yeah. So with it, like he was talking about the blue lens and the purple lens, he's able to see through my purple lens in some areas, and I'm able to see through his blue lens in some of his areas, so we can understand each other a little bit better.
Are you sure my lens isn't clear though? I think it is. I think it just sees exactly as it is.
Yeah, that is a very right thing for you to say. So it's been really helpful for us as we've dug into it to understand each other better, especially when we're having, I wouldn't say like arguments, not so much maybe, but like discussions where we're trying to figure things out, and I can say, okay.
And sometimes arguments.
I can say, okay, Rob, so you're trying to figure this out because you think this is the right thing. Like, how are you feeling about this? And he's able to say, okay, so you're feeling a lot of chaos right now in this moment and you're just ready to disappear, but I need you to finish listening to what I have to say. And then I'm able to say, okay, I've
never worded it that well, but I'm getting there.
I'm like, okay, I have about 10 more minutes left in me until I need to disassociate from this conflict of this stress of things. And then if you like, I can come back when I have a little bit more energy in me, but it can be very draining.
All right, so what is it? What is your type and what is it that drains? Because we're getting into some nitty gritty.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Okay, so after some digging into it and figuring it out, really digging into the two basic things that you need to figure out your Enneagram type, you can do the test. Most professionals or most Enneagram coaches will tell you that the test is only about 65 to 75% accurate.
Yeah, they're not
It gives you a starting point if you want, but then from there, you really need to dig into your core fear, the core desire, and your motivation of things.
Technology can be very confusing, partly because so much of it's like introspection. Mm-hmm. And a lot of Enneagram, the wording when they're giving you tests, they're trying to put words to introspective-y, internal kind of things, and those may not be the words you would have used to describe it. And so you may go, oh, I don't know what you're talking about at all.
Right.
But actually, you could fit that to a T. It's just if you switched a word. For example, with me, I remember the test saying, well, do you have a fear of being evil or corrupt?
Right.
I thought, I'm not afraid of being evil or corrupt at all. I try very hard not to be evil or corrupt.
You fought me on that for a long time with that. I was like, but this is what they say, honey.
Yeah. I was like, I don't have a fear of being corrupt. I mean, it's not like it's going to happen by accident. It'll happen to me if I try, and I'm not going to try. And, but really, if you switch that around and you were going to talk to me and say, do you have a fear that like you're doing something very wrong and maybe you don't even know it, but you're wronging somebody, you're hurting someone else because you didn't show up, you didn't do the thing you're supposed to do? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that.
You're being perceived as evil or not good.
Yeah, and like it's just different wording, but suddenly you go, oh, so that's what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with me, it took me a few tries to really dig into and figure out my number. At first I thought I was a 2, and then I thought, well, maybe I'm a 7, and it ended up I'm a 9. And with nines, they conform to the people around them. They kind of, it's kind of like my imagination of sitting on a couch and kind of just sinking into the couch. So you kind of just sink into the people around you. So say if my friend Sally is really into helping a nonprofit organization, I might start to have those same wants and desires of Sally in that nonprofit because I hang around Sally a lot and I see her desires and her wants. But once I really step back and think, okay, my thoughts and ideas are important as well. What does Charity want? Then I might sit back and go, yeah, I really don't want to do that. That's not where I feel like my purpose is. That might be her purpose, and that's awesome. That's great because they need advocates. But I'm not supposed to be an advocate for that.
Yeah, and so nines kind of, they say, go along to get along. They say that, and I feel like that describes nines well. Is like, let's not make a big deal out of this.
You don't want to ruffle ruffle feathers, the water, calm, peaceful.
Yeah, I don't really want to go to that restaurant. But the nine will never tell you, or at least without, you gotta, unless they're really healthy.
They really, really don't want to go to that restaurant, then they will tell you.
They really don't want to go, or they're really healthy, or you just like create a lot of space and you're like, nope, I'm gonna sit here and I'll wait until you decided whether you want to go to that restaurant.
Yeah.
And then they'll tell you. Whereas the one, type ones, which is the type I am, tend to be driven by an attempt to do good, to be good, to be worthwhile, to be good. To not just to be seen as good, but to actually do good, right? So I feel like if I reached the end of my life and everyone said, you are just a worthless, corrupt, you're just disgusting, but God said, no, he's good, then I'd go, ha, I win, I did it, right? Like if an objective source could say, you did a good job. But I also do want to be viewed by others as good, which can make that difficult because sometimes what people think is good is not good, and so on. Anyway. Yeah. So ones tend to, good qualities and bad qualities. Nines have good qualities and bad qualities. Ones tend to have some good qualities in that they can tend to be a little more discerning than other people. They can tend to be hardworking. They can tend to sit with tedious things that need to be done and get them done when other people would have rationalized or made a reason to get out. But they can also be like grouchy and angry and frustrated that why am I working so much and none of you guys are doing nothing and I'm the only one that ever that kind of whininess. Yeah.
And as we're describing our number, you can probably imagine where we've had some of our disagreements. For instance, like he was saying, where he kind of like pushes through and like he does the work, like so he can go ahead and just get it done. So it's not on his plate, it's not over his head anymore, and he can just turn off his brain and relax the rest of the day.
Yeah, I want to get all the work done before I do any play. Yeah. Because you should get your work done.
And I'm the total opposite. I have a hard time pushing through more than like two things before I have to take
you go up, you do stuff, you come down. You go up,
before I need to take I need to take a brain break. That might be zoning out on my phone, it might be taking a nap, it might be just sitting and reading for a little bit, but I need that little bit of break before I get up to go do things. So for like the first part of our marriage, before we knew about this, the Enneagram and such, he would always say, well, why can't you just start the laundry? Why can't you do it? Fold it and put it away.
Yeah, why do you half do the laundry and then half vacuum and then half do the dishes and then there's a pile of laundry, half of a pile, and a half vacuum floor and half of the dishes. Like, can you finish one of them and not start the other two? And she's like, can, but it's hard. It's difficult.
It's difficult for me, yeah. I tried to explain it to him one time as, imagine writing everything you need to do on Post-it notes and putting them all on the wall. My brain sees all those Post-it notes, right? And they're like, wow, this is a lot of stuff to do. Some of that might be go to the doctor, go grocery shopping, dust, sweep, eat lunch, right? My brain sees all these things. My brain has a hard time putting them in order of importance. So I could go until maybe 2 o'clock and be like, oh, I really should have eaten. But I got so busy doing other things that I didn't register that this was actually important on the list of things to do. And so type 9s typically have a difficult time putting tasks of importance in order. So I'll start washing the dishes. And then I'll think, oh man, I forgot to start the laundry. So I'll stop, go get the laundry and put it in, and then go back to washing the dishes. But then I get so overwhelmed with that I'm like, okay, I need to take a break, So the best thing for me that I've learned,
laughing because of all the arguments we'd have about exactly this stuff.
Exactly. The best thing I've learned for me to help, especially on busy days where I have a lot to do, is write things down on a list and then just mark them off. So if I start thinking of something, instead of going to go get it, I stop, write it in the list, and then keep on washing the dishes or whatever I'm doing. And that's really
helpful tool.
Yeah, it's helpful for me. So.
And ones often struggle less with that, my type. So in some ways you and me are really opposite, which has always been true. It seems like it's always true of everything with us. I think a lot of people look at us and go, no, you're not. Look at you. You two white people, roughly the same age, similar moral ideals and things. And that's true. But then it seems like in the day-to-day,
day-to-day stuff.
We care about different stuff. We're interested in different stuff. We have different passions. We approach things differently. I am pretty good at, and I don't even really think much about prioritizing and getting stuff done.
Right.
But then I have these completely separate flaws. Charity can be, calm and calming to others around them, and I can feel like sometimes I walk in a room and I'm just like, oh, why did you put that on the floor? That should not be on the floor. Oh, why are you doing this? Are you still supposed to be playing that game? Did you say that? When you answered me, did you word that exactly true? And people are just like, oh my gosh, quit picking at me.
Yeah. And that's helped in our marriage too, especially lately with kids and me learning that I can share my opinions and thoughts. A lot of times if Rob, say, was upset with the kids and he would go ahead and punish or do something.
Explode. Like a giant grouch.
Not all the time. I'm not putting him in a bad light. He's awesome.
I'm putting me in a bad light. This one.
I'm able now through a lot of self-discovery, self-learning, that I can use my voice, and so I say, "Hey, babe, let's talk for a second," and I'll say, and I can see other people's points of view. So he'll say, "Well, such and such, they didn't get off the computer, they played it, whatever," and I can say, "Well, yes, but I saw him trying to get off, even though he wasn't communicating with you that. I saw he was trying, and so maybe instead of him losing games for a whole week, maybe just the rest of the day." And so it kind of helps with.
She's like, ease up, man.
Ease a little bit. Let it go. And then, he's the same way with me, helping me. What's some ways you think that your oneness is?
I've learned
in situations.
I've learned to create space for you to decide, because I could basically pick everywhere we go for lunch all the time. I could almost get away with it, right? I could be like, let's go here. And be like, okay. And I didn't mean to sound like you're a ditz or something.
Okay.
That's totally fine. Like, I don't care. No, she's not like that.
Let's do it.
But I've learned to just, okay, back up. I'm pretty sure I picked last time, right? And I probably pick more than half the time. Where do you want to go? And then there's the hard part, which I'm still learning, but I haven't gotten yet, which is then shut up if I don't like it very much. Like if I'm willing to go, but I don't like it that much, then don't say a word. Because if I say, okay, she's like, well, let's do what you want to do. And I go, oh, darn it, I screwed up.
Like Chipotle, not Chipotle. Chipotle's okay. He's more, for me, he loves it. Like Chick-fil-A.
I do love Chipotle.
Like Chick-fil-A. I'll be like, what do you want? I'm like,
you want to take a break and go get some Chipotle? Sorry.
No, but we can go take a break and get some Chick-fil-A if it wasn't Sunday.
Yeah, it's closed.
But yeah, Chick-fil-A, I know it's not his favorite, so I usually don't, suggest it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to, ruffle.
So again, I'm still learning because I would have created more space for that because I like Chick-fil-A. It's fine. There's always somewhere I'd rather go, almost always. But so what? I'd rather my wife be happy. So we learn these things.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the ugly parts. How ugly can you get?
Can I give an example? Last night actually made me feel really good.
All right.
I forgot to tell you this, but it really did. I'm telling you now.
Tell the internet.
In front of all these people how awesome you were last night. So we went to Mexican last night, and I ordered my burrito supreme that I thought I ordered my burrito supreme that I usually get, right? So it's a burrito with the white cheese sauce with supreme, so lettuce, tomato, and all that. And I ended up ordering the deluxe, which had the red sauce and 2 smaller burritos.
It's not the same.
It wasn't the same. It was good. It was delicious. But it wasn't what I wanted. And so he knew that. And so he said, do you want to get some white cheese sauce and you can eat it with it? And I was like, no, it's okay. I mean, thanks, but I'll just eat this. And he's like, would it make your eating experience better? Like, do you know?
I tried.
So basically...
You didn't get the cheese sauce?
No, it's okay. I didn't get a cheese sauce because I was planning on going to Mexico maybe today or sometime soon with some friends.
There were some backups going.
And so I was like, I'll just get it then. Yeah.
It'll be fine.
But when he said, would it make your eating experience better? It showed me, what I heard was, you're important and your experience of eating your food is important and I want you to be happy. A lot of times with 9s, we hear and we feel, or we think we hear, let me rephrase that. We think we hear, and we do feel that we're not important, that we don't matter, our words don't matter, basically can just be a fly on the wall, And so for him to do that, it really did mean a lot, even though I forgot to say it.
Thanks. Now that we've been complimentary, let's get ugly.
Okay, let's get ugly. You start.
Well, I just want to talk about one of the things about a 1 and 9 relationship is the way people fight. And actually, if you've typed yourself or your spouse and you're not sure, or you are sure but you're just curious, I think one of the coolest things you can do is go look up the relationship stuff between this type and this type, because it's creepy. They'll tell you almost the kind of stuff you argue about that you never tell anyone about. So how come they know that? And so for the 1 and 9, it's really interesting because what'll usually happen in a conflict is I will lean in.
I shut up.
Sometimes very aggressively lean in.
I shut up more.
And so the more the type 1 pushes,
I go back.
The more the 9 goes, like they won't engage.
Jack.
Or even act like everything's fine, no matter how obvious it is that nothing's fine. Like you will, and I hope this is okay, but we'll be in a fight, and things will be cold and just between us, but we're not really talking about it.
And I'll bring you eggs for breakfast.
You'll bring me eggs and then blow up on the kids, right? And the kids will get blown up on, but it has nothing to do with the kids. It's me, but she won't blow up on me because it's not like night. And then I'm sitting there going, why are you fussing at the kids? You should be fussing at me. And she's like, and I think, we kind of did that yesterday. It wasn't long ago.
Friday.
We've been married for
18 years.
18 years? What year is it? And it still happens, but we're getting better. And we kind of are getting better at empathize. She's better saying, okay, he's coming on really strong. But that's kind of his personality to some degree. And he's probably not just trying to hurt, right? Or hurt me.
Right.
And likewise, I can, she's refusing to answer me. That doesn't mean she doesn't care about me.
Nope.
Or that she won't.
I need time to think about it.
She won't do the thing. And so that's what's really hard too. And then it's also hard to address our rationalizations, right? So I'll go, well, I'm upset because blah, 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 but that's not really why. Right. Yeah. Or you might say, I need some time. You don't need time. You just were hoping it would go away. Sometimes.
Right. But sometimes I do. Right. For most, if it's really ugly, I say I need time to get away from it.
Yeah. But usually you need more usually what you need is more like minutes, like some time to get your thoughts straight.
Right.
Like we don't have to actually even go away. We can just sit there for a couple minutes and usually stuff starts happening. Right. But again, you have a desire to run away and to rationalize it. I have a desire to give up on, this is pointless and there's no point talking to you. You won't even,
Right.
And we gotta fight those.
I'd rather sweep the dirt underneath the rug. You don't see the dirt anymore, right? It's good. He'd rather take the rug, beat it outside, make sure it's all nice and clean, then put it back.
Yeah.
So you can imagine our conflict
Or rather,
styles,
I'd
our
rather
discussion styles are a little different.
I'd rather force someone else to sweep up that thing on the floor because I didn't put it there. You did, and you need to be personally responsible.
Yeah. So we are learning that he has a hard time with criticism. Actually, I think we both.
I'm great at criticism.
We both don't like criticism, but for different reasons, right? So if someone criticizes me, then I just think lowly of myself, and think, well, I don't matter anyway, so I'm not good at this anyway, and I kind of start to spiral. With Rob, how is it with you with criticism? Because the other day when I tried to
with ones, it's your immediate reaction is just always defensive and usually aggressive.
Right.
Probably by the next day, you've internalized that thing they said. Like, that's the thing, is I think ones hear the criticism and act on it, no matter how they react to you. They could be like, how dare you say that to me? But be sure over the next 24 hours, they're like, okay, hold on.
Right.
Am I really doing this or not? And then if I am, what do I do about it? And if I'm not, well, how do I reconcile the fact that somebody thinks I'm wrong with the fact that I don't think that is wrong? Can I stop doing that even if I don't think it's wrong? Or is it something that I have to do because it's the right thing to do and it's going to upset them and there's nothing I can do about it? You think and 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 you think.
Yeah, you analyze a lot more than I do. I kind of just hit my feeling spot and I feel like discouraged, unwanted, unloved.
Yeah.
The criticism, and you do more of the analytical thinking and trying to process.
Yeah, and we both process, but our gut reaction, our initial reaction is different.
Anger.
Your initial reaction, my initial reaction tends to be rationalization. Here's why I didn't do anything wrong. And your initial reaction tends to be,
stubbornness.
How could you say that to me?
Right.
Doesn't matter if it's true. Why would you say that to me? Like, do you see how terrible it is that you would say that to me? It's like, but it's literally true. Yeah, but you shouldn't say it.
Shouldn't say it.
And I go, that's not true, even if it's true. And you go, how could you say that to me, even if it's true?
Yeah.
And we should say, thank you for that feedback. And then go process those feelings without blowing up on someone.
Yeah.
But we're getting better.
Yeah, like the other day we were in the car driving and I asked you a question. You were doing something, I think, with the storyline, with some gaming thing. And instead of saying, well, why are you doing it that way? I said, well, and I rephrased it some way so hopefully you wouldn't hear it as criticism. Because I was genuinely asking a question, like, why are you doing it that way? But if I was afraid that if I said, well, why are you doing it that way? Your brain would automatically think, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm doing it just fine. I'm doing it right.
Yeah, get off my back.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can.
Right, exactly. And that's not what I meant. I was literally curious, well, why, are you doing that way? So I was able to reframe it.
Yeah. Which is a totally different reaction because I probably thought about all the angles I could. And there's a good chance I thought about that one, and I'll tell you why I did this and not this, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so that's really helped us learn how to, I understand that part of you, so I'm able to reword the questions and such, so when we come to each other with concerns or ideas, then we can reword them to where hopefully the person hears it in the way that we're really genuinely asking or saying, and not with what they might be hearing in the negative tone of things. That makes sense.
Yeah. So what would our advice be if we have advice for people? Because I think, as I think through this as we're talking, I think the Enneagram thing is useful. Maybe you don't. I don't know. Whatever. And but there's kind of two main takeaways. One is I do think it's useful, whether through Enneagram or some other way, to get some perspective on how the person you're with is approaching things. Because that's, I think, what Enneagram has taught me, is that while people are very similar in many ways, we all struggle with pride. There are legitimate differences, and the similarities can deceive you into thinking that people are like you on the inside, and that they're thinking the same way as you on the inside, and sometimes they're just not. And sometimes they're just not. And sometimes they're thinking the same way as you on the inside, and that they're thinking the same way as you on the inside, and sometimes they're just not. And sometimes they're thinking the same way as you on the inside, and sometimes they're just not. 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 And sometimes okay, I'm going off on a huge tangent, but it's funny, so I'll do it. The biggest one I know of is, I've heard a couple of type 7s, which is the type that seeks fun. I've heard a couple of them respond in this way. If your boss said to you, hey, last night, that party was really fun. That work party was really fun. It would have been even more fun if you were there. Almost every type 7 will go, sweet. I feel so appreciated. They understand I bring the fun, and then I'm fun at the parties and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And that may have been the intent of the boss. But a type 1 will probably never hear that. My type. We will go, you gotta be kidding me. Are you saying that, like, what now I have to go to social fun functions like I'm obligated to, and if I don't go, I'm letting people down? Like, come on. I can't just stay home for one evening. I have to go out to this thing. I wasn't feeling well or whatever, like all of these things, because what you're hearing is, we would have had fun. It would have been better, but you didn't show up.
Right.
So you didn't do your job. You didn't do what you could have done, and now everything's worse. And so just kind of seeing things that way and realizing that there are certain ways where people are just coming from a completely different angle. Anyway, getting back to my main point which was, when it comes to what do you do in a marriage relationship, I think it boils down to, like, trying your best to get an understanding of their perspective, because it may be very different.
What color glasses are they seeing through?
And that's really hard to do, because it's hard to see somebody else's perspective, and some of the stuff they say could be rationalization and not the real reason at all. So you can't actually trust everything somebody says, because they may not be perfectly internally in tune with the reasons behind the way, none of us are.
Right.
And then, but the second one is maybe the key to marriage and almost every close relationship: forgiveness, 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 ad nauseum. Forever. Ad continuum, ad nauseum. I don't think ad continuum is a word.
Oh no, that was making me sick thinking about it.
It's making you ad continuosticism. I don't know. What do you think? What tip would you give to, like, a married couple?
Yeah, this is like a typical 9 answer, I guess, but trying to see through the lens or the understanding of your partner, right? So if you're having an argument or whatever, then think, okay, say it's about money, because couples, we argue about money.
Not us. Other less perfect couples.
Yeah, and I scoot this way as lightning strikes. But say, okay, what could his point of view? Okay, I understand why he's stressing over. Sure, he works all day long. I stay home, even though, that is work, taking care of the house, taking care of the little kids, the older kids too, now that we're doing virtual school right now, but getting groceries and doing everything like that. But since he's the one bringing in the money, I need to be a good steward of the money that he's, bringing into the home. And so I need to make sure that, that's what he's understanding and that's what he's seeing. And so when we're having arguments to say, finances and stuff, have that in the back of my mind. So when we talk about it, I can have more compassion about, of his thoughts or his views, instead of just throwing that wall up and being, well, you're wrong, I'm right. Kind of thing.
Go away.
Go away.
You're wrong, I'm right, go away.
And I would say too, try to come in with a peace and a calm as well, instead of exploding. Communication is important. We're learning that, and with ours, I have a hard time communicating, and I think part of that is, well, my thoughts and views aren't important anyway, and they're just going to shut me down, or whatever, so I don't need to say them. And so having that courage to speak up and to speak my voice when we're having arguments, or
and you've been having that courage lately.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that more and be like, no, we can't grow, we can't learn if I don't speak and say my thoughts and my wants. Even though sometimes it is easier just to shut down. But then, I've heard people say this, and it kind of resonates a little bit more to me, where people say, you actually cause conflict by ignoring conflict.
Yes.
And I was like, But I don't like it.
The people most likely to say, actually, I think this is slightly different. This is not a 9 thing. I'm just throwing it out there. The people most likely to say, oh, I can't stand drama. Have you noticed how often they're surrounded by drama? Like, you kind of have to hit some things head on.
Yeah.
Or else they get worse, not better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's the Enneagram. We explained the whole thing. Except for the other, 7/9 of it.
Layers.
I did like that I'm right, you're wrong, go away comment. Because it's like, I don't think a 9 says that, but I think they think that. I'm right, you're wrong. I'll just wait till you go away. Right?
Yeah.
And then one's like, I'm right, you're wrong. So I need to tell you. Make sure that you know that you're wrong.
And that can be pretty stubborn. Actually, both of us can be pretty stubborn. Because we're both at the top of the Enneagram with the 8. So we have 8, 9, 1 at the top of the Enneagram with the gut feeling triad. And then you have, I'm trying to figure out which
2,
way
3,
I
4?
need to go.
Over here?
Yeah. That's what I was trying to see if it's a reverse if you guys sing it.
Oh, 2, 3, 4 is over here for you. Good point.
That's what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
So 2, 3, and 4, which are feelings and emotions, like you feel things, other people's feelings, your feelings, and then you go down over to the other side with the head triad, talking with 5s, 6, and 7s. So with us being at the top, Rob and I both have anger as our sin, I guess you could call it.
Most negative feelings, at least for me, get translated into anger. If I'm sad, I'm not sad for long. I get angry. If I'm scared, I'm not scared for long. I get angry.
Yeah. And
I wish that wasn't true. People are way more empathetic with scared people or sad people. And with angry people, they tend to be like, you deserve it.
Why are you so angry?
You're so angry.
And then we were talking about this at lunch today, like the different views of anger, like why we're angry. One of the Enneagram coaches that I love to follow, she, always says, anger is not bad, right? What we do with our anger is bad, yes.
Yeah.
But anger in itself is not bad.
It sure feels bad.
So why does it feel bad to you? Why does anger feel bad to you? And so for me, it's like, I'm not supposed to be angry. I'm supposed to be happy and calm and peaceful. And anger is the opposite of that. I'm not supposed to be that. And so it kind of brings, like we were talking about, it brings shame to me and my feelings. Like, I'm not supposed to be that. So then I get angry at myself for being angry. Or, I'll blow up on the kids because I'm angry about something else. And then I look back at myself, I'm like, oh, so I have to go back to them and say, like this happened the other day in the car. I was upset with something else going on and I blew up on the kids and they were already emotional with some other things going on at the house. And then I blew up on them and then I had to apologize when we got back home and I said, guys, I am so sorry. I said, this is the thing behind the thing. We've been starting to use that lately. What's the thing behind your thing?
Yeah, what is actually going on?
Right, what's actually bothering you?
Past the layers.
And I was like,
why are you really upset?
Yeah, and I was able to say, I'm sorry guys, I blew up on you. I was angry with somebody else and I couldn't talk to them about it. So I blew up on you. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. And so being able to really understand the thing behind the thing lately has really, I think, helped us with our communication with each other. He'll be upset or I'll be upset or sad or whatever. And we're able to process it better. And I'm able to speak to him and say, wow, the other day I was having some conversation with some friends and something happened and I got home and I was super emotional about it. And it was because as a 9, I'm usually compliant, going with the flow, nothing happens. And so it really hurt that when I actually spoke my mind about something, they took it as a joke or maybe didn't see it really as that. And that hurt because I was like, that's what I'm scared of. My fear actually came to light. I was afraid that people wouldn't hear me.
And a few years ago, I'd have been like, what are you talking about? Just come
Get
on.
over
This
it.
is not a
Move on.
problem.
Yeah.
You're just making a big deal out of nothing because I didn't understand. It is a big deal to her. It wouldn't be a big deal to me, but it would be to her.
Yeah, and it brought up emotions. And I usually don't get I am not much of a crier and emotional person, really, when it comes to feeling things. Usually it'll hit me and I'm like, okay, it's not there, right? I do my 9 thing, I ignore it, ignore the pain. Usually sometimes even the happy, just kind of just there.
Just keep it even.
Yeah, and then, I'll start thinking, okay. And then I start getting mad, or I'll get super happy or sad about it. Everything will kind of just hit. And then once I've resolved those feelings, I'm back to being okay again. But usually it takes a while to really dig in deep for it. It's I guess maybe digging for oil, where you're digging and digging and digging. It might take forever to finally get it, but once you get it, yeah. Anything else that you can think of that has really helped us with our marriage?
I don't think so. The only thing I can say is lately I've been going through and listening to Dr. Tom Lohui. I don't know how to spell his name. Tom, and then the last name's L-A-H-U-E.
He's one of the ones I'll add. For sure.
Of all the Enneagram things I've found, he has been the most useful. And I don't mean other people weren't good. They were. But yeah. He's got some kind of weird talent for almost climbing into the head of someone else and expressing to you exactly how they're thinking and feeling. Mm-hmm. And the way he's right is he'll get to your type and then express to you exactly how you're thinking and feeling, which is a little bit creepy, Tom, Dr. Tom. But it is really cool, really useful. It really helps us we're kind of trying to go through things with our kids and learn them and learn to empathize with them better. And he has been a really good resource, so we'll link that.
He actually, so we have, like we said last time, we have 2 13-year-old boys and then a 11-year-old daughter.
And a 4-year-old.
Right, 4-year-old. So we're doing with the older 3 right now. And so one of our boys we know is a 7, in and out. And then listening to his video and having our son listen to it, it really confirmed it. He was shaking his head yes the whole time.
The other one we know for sure is a 5.
It's a 5, right.
We're not sure about our daughter.
Right, our daughter we always thought was a 4, a type 4. Because we read through some of the core desires and did all that other work that we were doing, right? And after listening to some of his explanations and stuff, she's like, I'm not resonating with some of this. A lot of it she wasn't resonating with. And so we're like, okay, well, maybe we'll have to go back and do some more research. And that's okay. Some of the top coaching people with this, professionals, it's taken, I know one person, I think I heard him say, it took him a year or so to really understand who he was with his number. Again,
because there's this whole internal thing you're trying to put terminology to.
Right.
And once you get it, you do get it. Once you go, okay, this is my type.
Yeah.
Once you're sure, you get pretty sure. It's just that you probably resonate a little bit with all of them. There's probably almost an order to it. I'd call myself if I was putting an order, I'd be 1, 3, 9, 1, 3, 6, 5, 8. I could go down until at the bottom's probably 2 or 9. So you hear some stuff in the 3 and you go, I kind of resonate with that. But once you find that type and once you hear people talking who are that same, you go, okay, that is definitely me. And then you start to kind of understand that terminology better and what they mean when they say you don't want to be evil or corrupt or something.
Yeah.
So, all right.
It's really been helpful for us in our marriage. And like I said, understanding our kids better. All right, so that's about it for today. Make sure that you subscribe and click the notification button so that way you get notified when we open up new
posts.
When we post.
Well, if you want to get notified.
Say brain fog. Brain fog is happening.
You don't have to. It's totally optional. You know this.
Yeah. So if you click the notification button so you can get notified when we post a new YouTube video. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.